Hi everyone and Merry Christmas. It is Christmas Day when this video will go out to you all, so I hope you have a super day. It's quite a complex picture. It's certainly not going to be a one video series because we have got a lot of sky to deal with. We've got a white bear, we've got white ice, we've got blue sea, so it's quite tricky. But we're going to break it down into manageable little chunks so that you've got time to do it slowly over the Christmas period without worrying, and hopefully you'll enjoy it and learn maybe a few things. Now, I have done this picture so many times, maybe 5 or 6 times before, so I'm going to take a few elements from different times that I've done it and sort of put it all together. I'm going to start with the ice. Now, I find that the easiest place to start personally because I know what I'm doing with it basically. I'm going to use probably 3 shades of blue. I'm going to start with the cobalt turquoise. These are Polychromos. I picked these. It's what I was using on my desk before I came through, and they've just got a nice range of colour for this picture. I think I used them for the last picture as well. So my idea is here to build up some layers down at the bottom here and then to start to fade it up as we go up. I'm almost colouring it as if it's a gemstone, and I realise this is quite a dark colour for ice, but we're going to do a few this colour and then a few with some lighter shades of this sort of turquoisey blues. So there will be a bit of a mix. But as you can see, we're going to go quite pale up to the top. And if you don't like it that dark, you can always not do it quite that dark at the bottom. It's probably a bit late if you're colouring along, but anyway, I think it'll work. So we've got this sort of iciness. Now, the reason for doing it in blue and not just trying to make a sort of white shine is that it's very hard. We've got white paper. You could get a white glitter pen, a clear glitter pen, and just cover it over in glitter if you want to make it shiny, or just draw across all the lines with a bit of glitter. I might do that anyway, not sure yet. That's something I'll leave to the end if I do any embellishments with pens, because I'll just smudge them and get them all over my hands. Got paint all over my hand yesterday. Wasn't even a sort of art based thing. Our new kitchen is a year old, and I chipped a bit of paint off one of the cabinets and I've got a touch-up paint pot, which is fine. Yeah, I'm going to do that one. So I grabbed my touch-up paint to just carefully just paint it over, and I couldn't get the lid off. So my kitchen fitters had used a little bit of it, and so the lid was jammed. So I wrote to the kitchen company and said, "Oh, I can't get the lid off my pot. Have you got any more?" And he said, "Oh, usually if you just run it under a bit of warm water, that'll get it sorted." I was like, "Okay, thank you." And he said, "But I'll order some." I was like, "Fair, you know." And I thought he just meant he was going to order some to keep in stock in case I needed some. But I ran my lid under hot water, and my son helped me get the lid off. We used he said, "You need a cloth." I was like, "You're right." This is the cobalt green I'm just sharpening. So we used a cloth. In the end, we used a green scouring pad to hold it, and got it off and did the painting. That's fine. But yesterday I got a little parcel through the post. I was like, "Oh, what's this?" So I opened the bag. It was a sort of padded bag, you know, and put my hand in. It took my hand out. I was covered in paint. He'd sent me a mini pot of paint. It's all gone now, thankfully, and he hadn't screwed the lid on properly. As I took it out, it was all running down the side of the pot, and I got it all over my hand. And because it's it doesn't wash off. It's not. It's like, I was just about to go out as well. I was like, oh. So luckily husband was like, acetone. I was like, oh yeah. So got some nail polish remover. I'll basically wash my hands with nail polish remover. And most of it came off. And then I went out, and I just looked a bit like I had grubby hands, which wasn't as bad as looking like I was slathered in dark purple paint. But anyway, it was an experience. But we had a nice day yesterday. I met a friend for a coffee in the morning, which was lovely. We had a Christmas catch-up, exchange gifts. Well, it's under the tree. Well, I might have opened it by the time you watch this video. But and had a lovely catch-up on what's going on. We like to find out how each other's families are doing and things like that. I'm going to put a dark one here. I want it to look a bit random. So back to my cobalt turquoise for that one. And then I got home and we went straight out to Slimbridge, which is a Wetlands Trust. I never know what the second W is. Something Wetlands Trust. Wildlife and Wetlands, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, went there, had lunch. They had loads of Christmas trees. It was really pretty. And we had a look at some birds. There weren't many around, to be honest. It was raining. But we had a little art tour of the museum there, which is the home of the founder, Sir Peter Scott. Here, and it talked about he's a trained artist. Had a look at his art and his collection of art. Is actually this is the light cobalt turquoise. Some of his loveliest pieces were actually by C. Tunnicliffe, who does some illustrations for the Ladybird books. Some of you may know those. He had some of his pieces, but actually most of the art were copies, because when Sir Peter Scott died, apparently his children didn't take very much from the house, and he left half the house to the Wetlands Trust and half of it to his children. So Wetlands Trust were able to buy out the children and keep the house for themselves. But the children wanted his artwork, so they basically took all the art, but they copied it so that the copies could remain in the house so that it could become this museum. This actually happened after his wife died. His wife died in 2010. He died in 1989. But looking at his art, talking about art, and I mean, he did like oils, and there was some ink work as well. It was just lovely seeing it all, hearing the history of the family and the house. The house is amazing because it was built. They had it built, and I think I think he said 1950s. I can't remember, but the kitchen is like the original 1950s kitchen. It really is very much like a museum with the original Aga cooker and things like that. And it's just super. It was super fun. It felt very Christmassy. So here we have our sort of ice. There's not a lot of white in our ice. We need to add some white with a white pen. I'm going to do that now. I said I wasn't going to do pen, but actually I am, because after I finish making this video, I won't make any more today. So it'll give it a chance to dry. So I'm going to go actually over all the lines with my white pen to start with. We'll use a fair bit of white on this page as a whole, I reckon. So I'm going to go, over all of them with white, and then we'll add some more white in a bit. Now the sky of this page is always a challenge. It's a big old area, isn't it? I've tried doing all sorts of things. When Johanna first released Johanna's Christmas, she had a competition to win a copy, and she gave this page out for free. And I did it 2 or 3 times because I wanted to copy, didn't win. And I've never won, but it doesn't matter. That's good practice. Anyway, I had a lot of fun colouring the page. Whoops, that was a bit of a mess, but never mind. And so I was thinking, what can I do to make my page stand out? Because Johanna used to tend to pick pictures. Now she tends to do random draws for her competitions, but she used to pick a page that stood out. And I thought, how can I make my page stand out? I thought it was being ever so clever. I thought I'd do the northern lights in the background, you know. So I did something. It looked terrible, I think. I still think it was sort of green and red, pink and stuff. I did like northern lights. Now, I want to make some lines to make it look like it's shiny. Now think about how these are all in different directions, so our lines will change direction depending on the bit it's on. So I'm going to change that direction a bit. yeah, so I did a Northern Lights. I've done one that's just plain. I can't remember what else I've done. Now, if you wanted to do a sort of sunset sky, which would look really nice, I'm going to do some sort of dots of white on this as well. The thing with that is that the colour of the sky would reflect into this ice. So my plan is to do the sky in this sort of colour, a sort of blue. It's quite easy. I'm going to get my pastels out. Oops, trying to cover that and just taking the paint off. This, you have to be a bit careful. Lots of dots and lines, like make it look a bit more icy. Particularly at the top, because I think it would be lighter at the top of each of these sections. You can do wiggly lines, anything you like really, just to try and make it look like you can see into the ice a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to do a blue sky, so spoiler alert, right at the end it will be with pastels, nice and simple. Now we have all these gifts to do. How long have we been going? 11 minutes. Won't be doing them all today. And I was thinking I'd like them to all match. Now I've done a version, let's come down here so you can see, with red gifts and gold ribbon. And I really like that version, but I'm thinking I might just stick with the cold colours. So I'm thinking maybe I'll do them blue and gold. Gold isn't a cold colour, I realise that, but I think blue and gold go quite nicely together. So that's a thought that I've been having to do, maybe do it like that. And then like the scarf to match in, but then we're going to have blue water, blue sky, blue gifts. It's all going to be a bit blue, isn't it? But maybe that's okay. Maybe that'll work. So, and we don't have to do the scarf blue. Could do it differently. I like them to match. So let me have a think and look at our blues. See, I want to have a few different shades of blue, but all within the same sort of base colour, or colour family maybe, as Colour with Claire might say. And these three, we've got our phthalo blues. I think they might work quite nicely with gold. I'll be showing you these. This is the light, mid and dark. And what I think I'm going to do now is colour every gift with the light phthalo blue all over in an evenish layer. Okay, I'll come in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing, but it's not going to be anything too technical. It's just going to be colouring in them all. And I did that white pen, and now I'm working above it. Thinking, oh, I'm going to stop in a minute, but I didn't take as long as I thought. So I'm going to do this base and then I'm going to finish. So if you're busy today, which you probably are, you've got to go and put the oven on, get the turkey cooked, or make some roast potatoes. Don't worry, you won't miss anything if you stop it here. You can just go off and do that. But you can listen. You can take me with you and listen to me while you're doing it. So have some fun. So I'll be, what will I be doing? It's just the evening when this video goes out, isn't it, in the UK? So you might be sitting down, excuse me, having a bit of a relax and a rest. I might put this out in the morning. Yeah, I'll put it out in the morning. So yeah, our Christmas Day used to start at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, with the children getting up mega early. This year, I haven't spoken to them about what time we're going to get up this year. Because my one son has to get up quite late, and I think my other one will want to be up a bit earlier than that, so maybe we'll have a discussion about that in a minute over lunch, and see what they want to do. My idea is that I'm going to use the next darkest blue maybe to do the patterning on the gifts, and then the very dark one maybe for the shadows where they're overlapping and things like that. And we might use some glitter. I think we should. It'd be rude not to, wouldn't it? It's Christmas. So we'll use some glitter pens. I'm not sure if we use blue or silver. Have a think a bit later. I'm just going to sharpen. We're getting a bit small, aren't we? So yeah, let's think what time of them. So yes, we used to be up very early. do stockings in our bedroom. Then everyone gets up and gets properly dressed, and we have a proper breakfast before we do the other gifts, large gifts. It's actually what we used to do in my house, except I wasn't allowed to get up until 7 o'clock. It was absolute torture. I remember lying in bed, feeling everything in my stocking. Through the stocking, I didn't dare take the presents out, but I would sit there sort of scrunching it and, you know, pressing it and feeling it and trying to guess. Of course you could never guess. And trying to work out what it was and wishing it was time, watching the clock go round ever so slowly, you know, 5 o'clock, 5:05, 5:10, oh come on, why isn't it 7 o'clock, you know, all that. And then the worst year with regards to present torture was the year my grandfather came over for Christmas Day, and we had to wait for him to arrive before we were allowed to open anything, and the presents were all there in a pile, and you just had to sit and look at them. And it's like, is he coming yet? Can you, because my dad collected him. He didn't drive, and my dad used to pop over in the car, and it's like, can you go and get him yet? It's not ready yet, he won't be up yet. Oh, go on, can you go and get him? Go on, get him now. And then he arrived. It's like, yes. And we'd already sort of looked through the presents, looked at the presents. We weren't allowed to pick them up, touch them or move them, but we had a look at them and decided there was a particular one we wanted to open because it was a joint present for me and my sister. So we thought, this one, we don't know what this is, we're going to open this one first. And as soon as he walked through the door, we ripped the paper off. And it was a board game called Downfall, which my mum bought because she really liked it. And she used to play it with us. She didn't often play games with us. She used to play that one with us, so which was good. But it was like, oh, it's a game. So, but we weren't allowed to open anything else. We got told off until he'd sat down and had a cup of tea. It's like, why do grown-ups always have to have a cup of tea before? Oh, will you come and play with me in the garden? Oh, after I've had a cup of tea. It's like, go, cup of tea? Why do you have to have a cup of tea all the time? But I remember that so vividly. But yeah, eventually we were allowed to open. And then, oh no, you've got to stop now and let someone else open something. No, I want to open. But I actually now quite like savouring my presents. I like looking at the wrapping and enjoying how they look and, you know, holding them for a while and things like that. So I really dislike being rushed to open anything, and which does tend to happen if we're sort of with lots of people. I'm going to colour over this snowflake because I shall I can go over that a little bit with something to make it stand out. So I've got a couple more presents down here to do. But now, yes, I enjoy looking at things wrapped. I think they often look better wrapped than unwrapped. And because I love wrapping presents, I try and make them look all pretty. So I like to look at wrapping. I know it takes time and effort, so I like to look at it and enjoy it before I just rip the paper off. But I've already had some presents when we were at my sister's, and I just found myself opening them really quickly without really looking at the wrapping and the labels and what was written on the label and things like that. So I would rather have brought them home and put them under the tree and had a week to look at them and enjoy them wrapped up, you know. My sister and my mum like to see us opening, so I did it that way. My nephew, he is 10. He was so excited, so sweet. Okay, let's come out and have a look what we've done so far. I am going to leave it there. I have got to go off and do some jobs, so I haven't got time to do any more today. But we will definitely do a lot more work on these gifts. They're not looking anything like how I'd imagined. There's going to be, as I say, we've got a couple of other colours to add. We've got some shading shadows to do, which we might do in a different colour as well. And then we've got all the bows to do, which will make a big difference and things like that. But that's me for today. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and watch and listen. this afternoon there is a suggested video that goes out which will give you something to have a look at if you want to look at something else, or I've got plenty of Christmas videos in the old archive if you want something. But tomorrow I'll come back with the next one of these, so we'll get a bit further. Excuse me, we might get the presents completely finished, but I'm not sure, depends how long it takes. But yeah, thank you for watching, hope you'll have a really super day and happy colouring.